What's going on today, guys? It's your boy Zo, and I'm back again for another video. Today we're going to be talking about some surprising life skills that coding will actually teach you that can help you expand beyond just software engineering. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing that coding can teach you, and what has taught me, is to actually think in the way of solving problems. Now, this is obvious for coding, and you're always solving problems. However, this also helped me in my external coding life, I guess you'd say. So when I first started my working career, I actually worked at a call center. And I was very much the mindset of I would sit around and I would see different things that could be done better, or this would be nice if, this or that, but I could never do anything about it, right? And that's where my mind kind of stopped. I didn't have to think any further because I subconsciously knew I couldn't do anything about it, and I didn't know what I know now through coding to be able to solve those different problems. It fundamentally just changes the way that you think as a person when you actually start coding. There's just something in you that changes, and there's like a flip of a switch where you start thinking about everything differently. And this also kind of comes in handy because I've done a lot of different roles while I was coming up, I guess you'd say, from software quality assurance engineer. I was doing that role, and I had been learning to code years before that, but when I got into that role, instead of just doing the normal job of testing and making these tests for, these different functionality and different features of the application, I thought beyond that, because there were a lot of people that didn't code. I'm not saying just because you're coding, you're going to have this, or just because you don't code, you don't have this problem solving ability. There were a lot of people that were just doing the job, that may be by choice, and maybe because that's just the way that their mind works. However, for me, I was always thinking of ways to make things more efficient, optimize, and just make things overall better for me. So I automated a decent portion of my job and the testing responsibilities that I had at the time, and made automated tests in order to kind of offload that for myself and having to do the manual tests that we had to do. That's just because I was thinking very differently than anybody on my team at the time. So that's really one good thing about it. And then also when I was going into data analytics, things of that nature, that carried with me. So instead of just having the mind of getting some numbers and gaining some insights, I was also able to kind of see how we can make our data flow better, how we can automate a bunch of different internal processes that we had at the time. And that was kind of the same thing. Not a lot of people on the team were actually thinking in that way. They were thinking more of the day-to-day, just going to get the numbers, present it to the business partners, and get some insights. Where I was thinking of ways to kind of, streamline, optimize all of those different types of things in order to make those processes easier for everybody on the team, where a lot of them didn't even have to think about what was going on because it was happening behind the scenes. They would just get their end product. It helped in a bunch of different ways, and that eventually led to a promotion in that area as well. So that's just one thing that coding will actually teach you in life, and it's helped me a great deal. So the second thing is coding teaches you to fail and fail fast. A lot of us nowadays are what we would call perfectionists, right? I was also one of those people. I couldn't do something unless it was perfect. I couldn't put something out unless it was perfect. If any of you have this or know what this is perfectionism, you realize that it creates a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress on yourself to be perfect. What coding has taught me is go in there and try some different things. Chances are you will fail. You're going to get an error, type error, something small, miss a semicolon, miss a parenthesis, whatever it may be, trying to use something that's not meant to be used in a certain way. Through coding, what I learned is the more times you try and the more times you give it a good effort, the faster you're actually going to get to your result. For example, YouTube, you see there's stuff all around here, right? Now, if I were to let that hinder me and say, well, I don't have the perfect setup, I don't have the perfect lighting, I don't have the perfect equipment, right? I would never start posting videos, and that would stop me. But one day it clicked and said, well, let's just do it. Let's do it and try to make it better. Let's try to give value, and we'll see what comes of it. It teaches you to move quickly and fail fast, because you're not gonna know until you get there and do it. Now, I'm not saying that if you code necessarily that perfectionism kind of mindset will go away, but I'm saying it does definitely kind of exercise the point of I'm gonna try, failed, you kind of almost become a little bit numb to failure, as in like it's not failure, it's just another thing I have to learn, another thing I have to get better. If you could accept that and accept that you aren't perfect and you're going to make mistakes and you're not 100%, gonna get everything right the first time, it won't be anything to you. You're gonna learn a lot more if you kind of just let that be, fail and learn, and then move forward. That's one big thing that actually led to a lot of my success in my career, of especially just applying for positions, right? I got turned down for multiple positions, but I also got positions and got promoted. So if I would have only stuck all my eggs in one basket and been like, I only want this specific position, and either it never comes available within the next couple of years, or let's say I'm not fit for the position at that time, I have to wait a whole nother round until they need that position again. Instead of me just saying, you know what, these positions are what I want to do, right? Around the same thing that I want to do. I'm not looking for the perfect position, but I can learn in all these roles. And by that time, I can move 2 to 3 different roles and learn so many different things, and then get my perfect position that I've been wanting, right? And then I would have learned so much and been able to take that to my perfect role and been able to kind of, change things from there. All right, so the third thing is in tech, and especially in coding, anytime you're using that kind of stuff, you are always learning. It's a constant learning battle. And this has taught me a great deal about me and myself as far as self-reflection. Let me give you a little story here. When I first started my job with the company, they offered me a 401k packet once I reached whatever types of criteria or whatever. And what I realized is, once again, I've been coding, even though this wasn't any type of coding job, this was just an entry level. I think I was opening mail. I was literally opening mail. And what this taught me though, as I was coding, but my actual day job was opening mail. What this taught me is that I love to learn and I should continue to learn, because coding, I was already doing that at home on my side projects. I was already constantly learning. So I got my 401k packet, and once again, that mindset shift. And I saw all of these different investments, and I said, I don't know what any of this is. I don't know anything about financials. I didn't come from a background or a household that spoke about this stuff, that even knew what this stuff was. They just invested their money in whatever. They just checked the box. I said, I don't want to be that person. So I'm willing, this is my money that I'm putting into an account, and I'm willing to go in and learn about this stuff. And I know I can learn about this stuff. It's just going to take time. So I went in, I learned about 401k, investments, stocks, and it's paid off tremendously for me. But that's one of the examples that coding has taught me, is to always constantly be learning. You don't have to learn about every single thing if you don't find it interesting, right? But it teaches you to kind of get the bits and pieces of what you need to know in order to kind of, propel yourself and make your life better. For example, taxes are a weird thing that I kind of find interesting, as far as like tax breaks and all that type of thing. It's one of those things too that I devoted myself to kind of learning a little bit about. I'm not a tax expert, I'm not a CPA, I'm none of that, but it's very interesting on those types of things, as well as investments and how to invest in companies, how to limit your downside, your risk, how to do a discounted cash flow, read balance statements, all that type of stuff. Coding has taught me constant learning, so I'm taking that in my day-to-day outside of software engineering. I'm constantly learning about a whole bunch of stuff. I have golf clubs in the back. It's taught me to kind of dive in and learn to try to golf. I'm still bad though, but I'm always trying to learn how to get better. And that probably also comes from a little bit of my DNA and being a competitive person. But that is the 3 surprising life skills that you can learn from coding. And that's why I suggest that everybody learn to code, because there's even good stuff that can come outside of coding. Even if software engineering isn't going to be your what you want to do, I always suggest to learn code, because it forces you to think in a different way. I'm not saying to be an expert, I'm just saying to learn basics, a little bit past the basics. Who knows, you might even love it. It might even have a career change. But at the end of the day, you can still walk away with some life skills that can help just, better your life overall. So this is gonna be out for this one, a little bit of a different video here. So I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all head out. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll see you on the next one.